This video is going to be one of the more important videos you watch in terms of Diamond Dynasty. In this video, you will learn what each attribute means both for hitters and pitchers and which one you should prioritize. By knowing which ones you should prioritize, you will never have to ask anyone again whether you should pick this card or that card to fit your team. Starting it all off with Derek Jeter. As you can see, he has 125 contact against both right and left. 125 contact is the maximum amount of contact any card can have in Diamond Dynasty. Even if you were to go ahead and, let's say, boost Derek Jeter through some sort of captain, he would not be able to surpass 125 contact versus left or 125 contact versus right. The attributes that can go up to 125 but are capped at 125 are contact versus right, contact versus left, power versus right, power versus left, vision, clutch, and then everything else maximizes at 99. Now you're looking at Derek Jeter's power numbers, or we can look at his contact numbers if you want. This is the unparalleled version of Derek Jeter. If you press R1, you will see that each card has the ability to be paralleled. Paralleled means you're earning experience by using the card, whether it's online or offline inside of Diamond Dynasty. Based on how that card performs inside of that Diamond Dynasty game, he earns parallel experience, and each parallel level has a threshold you have to meet in order to advance to the next parallel level. Maximum parallel level is parallel 5, and what each parallel level does, it increases all of the attributes of the card by 1 and could even increase the overall of the card. So for example, let's say you get Jeter to parallel 1. Instead of him having 88 power versus right, he would have 89. Instead of having 99 power versus left, he would have 100 because power surpasses that 99 cap all the way to 125. The contact against both sides would always remain at 125. So if you parallel Jeter up to parallel 3, all of the attributes increase by 3 except those that are already capped off. Discussing power. What power affects is the player's ability to get extra base hits. Contact affects the ability of the player to get hits. Contact is also what dictates your PCI inner size. So there is a PCI outer. That PCI outer is the vision. The PCI inner, which is the smaller middle one, is going to be the contact that the hitter has. The more contact the hitter has, the bigger it is. The less contact, the smaller it is. Vision is not as impactful as it used to be inside of MLB The Show 22 because they said inside one of the dev streams that they cut the vision attribute in half. So regardless of whether a player has a lot of vision or no vision whatsoever, all it is affecting is the ability to foul off pitches if your PCI outer is anywhere close to it. Contact, it is important to note, also only is used whenever there are no runners in scoring position. So if you have a runner on first, contact will be what dictates the player's PCI size. But if there is a runner on second or third, then contact will no longer be the attribute that decides the PCI size. Instead, it is going to be clutch, which we're going to get to in a second. Before we continue, let me remind you to hit that like button, red subscribe button, notification bell so you don't miss another upload. Inside the description, we have our Twitch. Make sure you follow. We stream daily. Discord, MLB The Show community in there, social media links, follow that as well for updates. And then last but not least, how to become a member if you would like to financially support me. Let's continue. Discipline is an attribute that you should not pay attention to, just like vision. Discipline just allows you to check your swing, and MLB The Show has already adjusted the frequencies of check swings. So if you are someone that has high discipline, you're just slightly less likely to get called for a check swing. But at the end of the day, the check swing is determined by the user's input rather than the attribute within itself. Clutch is that new attribute that I want you to look at for each and every single card. Because if this Derek Jeter card had max contact and then 25 clutch, this card would not be good unless it was being used at the leadoff spot. And the reasoning behind it is whenever you have a runner in scoring position, whether it's second or third, that clutch is your new contact. So it dictates the PCI size of the hitter, regardless of whether it is a left-handed hitter or a right-handed hitter. Bunt and drag bunt are pretty straightforward. It's the player's ability to bunt. The higher it is, the more likely it is for him to execute a well-timed bunt and a well-placed bunt. The lower it is, the more unlikely it is for him to keep the bunt fair, and the more unlikely it is for him to keep the bunt on the ground as well. Durability is not an attribute that affects Diamond Dynasty. It only affects offline modes such as Road to the Show and Franchise because it dictates the ability of the player to get injured throughout the season. Let's get to the juicy attributes. Fielding affects animations. It does not affect the first jump. It affects your animations. So if you've ever had in the infield a ball hit up the middle and the second baseman takes an extra few steps before making that throw, that is because that second baseman has low fielding. If the second baseman had, let's say, gold level fielding or even diamond level fielding, he would unlock animations that would allow him to stop on one step instantly instead of taking 2 or 3 and throw the ball, or do a jump throw similar to what Derek Jeter did in his career. Arm strength is just that. How hard a player is going to throw the ball in terms of velocity. Arm accuracy, if you're using button accuracy, is going to dictate the green range for your button accuracy throw, as well as dictate the range of the yellow, as well as dictate the range of the red. And in more difficult plays, it's going to shrink even more than someone with high accuracy because it would have low accuracy. Last but not least, in terms of fielding, reaction is the jump that the player has whenever the ball is hit in their direction. So sometimes you might see a player take off for the ball late or take a step in by accident, and that is all because the player has bad reaction. Speed is straightforward. How fast is the runner compared to the other runners inside of the game? Steal is the ability to steal a base. How effective is he going to be in stealing bases? And then base running aggressiveness is how effectively can he run the bases. So you might see someone with high speed but low base running aggressiveness be a lot slower when it comes to rounding the bases than someone with high speed and high base running aggressiveness, and that's because those with higher base running aggressiveness take better routes when it comes to going around the bases that will allow them to score at a much faster time than those that don't. For pitchers, we're going to look at Pedro Martinez. So stamina is going to be how long can a pitcher pitch for, meaning can he get to 120 pitches and still have yellow energy? If the player has low stamina, then as you're getting to 90 or 100, the player is more likely to get tired. For a relief pitcher, it's the same thing. If the relief pitcher only has 20 stamina, then around 20 to 25 pitches, the pitcher is either going to be out of energy or tired. But if the relief pitcher has 35 to 50 stamina, then they could probably go ahead and throw 25 pitches and still be in the green. Hit per 9 dictates the opponent's PCI size. So the higher hit per 9 the pitcher has, the smaller the PCI size of the opponent's hitter based on the opponent's contact. So even if you have maxed out contact, if the pitcher has 125 hit per 9, he's going to shrink your PCI from what it would normally look like because hit per 9 does that. That is the effect it would have. K per 9 dictates the outer PCI, so the vision. The higher the pitcher's K per 9 is, the more the vision is decreased for the hitter. Breaking ball, or excuse me, based on balls per 9 has really little to no effect in terms of Diamond Dynasty, and I believe that it really only affects offline game modes. Home run per 9, same thing. It has little to no effect on online game modes. It probably only affects offline game modes, if even at that. I've heard previously that home run per 9 did not affect anything at all. Same thing with walk per 9, unless you were simulating. Pitching clutch is just like batting clutch. So if there are no runners on base or a runner on first base, what a pitcher is using to determine the hitter's PCI size is the hit per 9. If there is a runner on second or third, the pitcher is no longer using his hit per 9 to determine the PCI size of the opponent's hitter. Instead, the pitcher is now using his pitching clutch as the determining factor. So whenever there are runners in scoring position versus Pedro Martinez, this card becomes a lot more effective. Control affects how big the perfect area region is if you're using pinpoint or using pure analog or meter. And then velocity is how hard the pitcher throws. Break is how often his pitches break, and each pitch has a different break, by the way. Now, the same way you can parallel up hitters, you can also parallel up pitchers. And what happens when you parallel up pitchers is that the velocities of their pitches change. So if you want, or they had a more effective, slower off-speed pitch, the off-speed pitch is either going to become slower, or if they had a more effective, faster off-speed pitch, it's going to become faster. The velocity of the fastball will increase, etc. and etc. Fielding wise, pitchers do not really matter when you're looking at their fielding attributes or arm strength or arm accuracy or reaction. At the end of the day, they have a hitbox inside of them that will allow them to deflect almost any baseball. The only thing that probably matters is their arm accuracy for the button accuracy once they pick up the ball. If you did end up enjoying today's content, hit that like button or subscribe button, notification bell so you don't miss another episode. And make sure you go ahead and check out the description for the Twitch we stream daily, Discord where we have an MLB The Show community, social media links. Make sure you guys go ahead and follow, and then how to become a member if you would like to support me financially. Have a blessed day and night. Stay positive, stay safe, stay blessed, and I will catch you all on the next one. Peace out.